screw you when you're really trying to serve and it's not about you. But I think a lot of people don't see that side of me. And Joe literally said, Tony Robbins said, this is my film, and I get to do it the way I want to do it. I get full access. That's our deal, right? So he burst through the doors and filming while I'm sitting there. It was really beautiful because so many people have touched me. So I appreciate your courage and your commitment and persistence, and grateful you really helped us touch people in 197 countries around the world thanks to Netflix. I also want to thank Netflix for taking this on because they've really helped us reach you. Just give it up for Netflix. Joe is now like the king of Netflix. He doesn't talk about it, he's so humble, but he's got all these shows that are just becoming. Your last show, the one you did on Monday, how many people?
They're all serial killer shows. That was the other. If people really know my resume, I usually deal with some dark subject matter, wrongful conviction, polluting corporations. I mean, this film has been, the other reason this film's been so special is like I'm always so mired in the dark. It's so beautiful to have made a film that shines a light on something so positive and transformational. But yeah, no, I've been doing, true crime is very popular these days, so I've been doing a lot of true crime stuff, which I'm proud of. But
how many viewers have watched your most recent shows? They're unbelievable. #1 on Netflix. Right?
Actually, I told you privately, but I'm not allowed to reveal.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I apologize. Not put you on there. But they're really amazing.
It's an insane number of people. Like most of my shows have debuted at #1, when they air. Did a show called Crime Scene: The Vanishing of the Cecil Hotel, and that number was incredible. Our Jeffrey Epstein documentary, Filthy Rich, about that guy. They've all done pretty well, I have to say. Netflix is an incredible. It's transformed the documentary business because it's made it global, and they treat documentary as with the same respect as scripted content. I also did a scripted movie about Ted Bundy for Netflix called Extremely Wicked, with Zac Efron and Lily Collins. When you look at most of my resume, people say, "Oh, you did the Tony Robbins film too?" That's odd.
Your team was pretty skeptical when we started. Like your camera crew, it was really interesting to watch them. For me, what did you see over the couple of days? The first few days, they were very skeptical, and then you started to feel the shift. What did you see?
Like my longtime cameraman Bob Richmond. If I consider myself a skeptic,
Nathan's out there warming up. Let me show you. This is practice. I'll show you.
Positivity. So he and the crew were like, Joe, you sure about this? Joe. And by the end of it, actually, there are some dailies in our footage where you see the camera drifting down because we had full camera people. They're also entranced that they're like.
Plus, there's audio from Tony Robbins live talking to this guy.
By the end of it, everyone was in.
Let's go for a couple questions from our audience to start with, and then maybe we'll do an update on.
Wolfwood, you want to say hello?
So, who's our first? Someone want to give me the first question?
Hello.
You got it coming on live?
If you want to watch the practice, it's on peacocktv.com. It's free if you have cable, otherwise it's $4.99 a month. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
We're listening to Tony Robbins. We're watching Nathan Chen practice. I'll show you.
How did I create it? It actually came out of pain. This makes sense.
This is live from Las Vegas.
I never had a desire to own a company or do that nature.
It's on Peacock TV.
I got into business because I had this skill and wanted to help.
You want to say hello?
To be like an artist who didn't realize is if anybody's going to see my art, I have to put on my own art shows. I've got to hire people and do things. And so early
Sweet Potato, where'd you go? Sorry.
23, 24 years old.
I didn't know you
I
fell.
was in a tough spot. I did well because I so over-delivered with my clients, but I didn't know how to run a business. Plus, I was on the road. So you can imagine, I'd be on the road those days 275 days a year, but 365. And so I wasn't around running the business. And I remember Ken Blanchard, who's a good friend of mine, he wrote those 1 Minute Manager books. Some of you may have read it. He's a brilliant man, and if you ever get a chance to hear him speak, he's getting in his 80s. I really encourage you to hear him. He's a beautiful soul. But he came to me one day, and I helped him turn his golf game around. I helped him knock 4 more strokes off his golf game. I knew how to play golf. I know how to do psychology. So I was like God to him. And he said, I want to do something for you. He said, you got to stop doing what you're doing. So what do you mean? He goes, you're trying to run your business? He goes, I give you 1 hour tops. And I can't run my business. You do 40-hour weekends. He goes, how do you run your business? And I said, not very well. And he said, you got to find somebody, do what you do best, find somebody to do the rest. And so long story short, I found 2 people eventually, and I brought them on board, and they asked me, like, how do you want to do this? And I said, well, look, how much money do you want to make was a big question. I said, I want to reach more people. So we'll make plenty of money if we help enough people. We don't have to worry about that. They said, well, how do you want to do this? I said, well, I want to reach 3 times as many people, but I want to cut the time by a third because I was traveling, taking my kids on the road, and, it was nice for a while because school's nice, education's more valuable.
Hello, NBC Sports Network, or Peacock, I'm putting it in the chat, 39 minutes. Doing more seminars, bigger seminars than ever done. I just didn't know how to run a business. And then they were stealing. And it was devastating. The first thing I want to do was kill them, because to me my business is like my child. We're listening to Tony Robbins. Plus the music from U.S. Figure Skating Men's Practice. Because I felt so hurt. Whenever people are angry, it's important to remember what's underneath it. It's loss. And loss creates hurt. And I really felt like I loved these 2 guys. One guy really stole, the other guy didn't really do anything about it. He knew about it. And so, long story short, I was like, I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to track this guy down. And my accountant told me I had to go bankrupt. And I said, I can't go bankrupt. The Fandesk should be live in about 15 minutes. I'm responsible. It's still my company. On Facebook and YouTube. So U.S. Figure Skating. I'll put that in the chat. You have every right to be this upset. While you're busy chasing these guys, your company. And this is your mission. So what do you think I should do? He said, I think I've seen you one time in your life be in a calm place. I said, when was that? Because we went to Fiji that time. You looked for profit. Oh, yeah. But you came back and everybody said you should take more vacations. He said, I think you should go to Fiji for 5 or 6 days. Leave us alone, figure out what you're going to do, and come back and crush it, because it's going to take everything you to figure this out. So I went to Fiji. And I was miserable still. I was sitting overlooking this azure ocean, and this thatched roof, like rosewood floors, the gorgeous spot. And I was just so frustrated. About 2 days into it, I finally had a breakthrough. I went to sleep. Right before I went to sleep, I don't know if you've done this before, but go to sleep with a question in your mind. The music's from the figure skating practice. And I woke up, the question I had is, what? And we're listening to Tony Robbins. You know so much about human behavior. And I thought I did. But I didn't predict this. Skate America. And it was just, who I was most mad at was me. And so I thought, they did it, but I didn't see it. So it's like, what really makes people do it? I was obsessed with that question. I fell asleep with that question. I woke up in the morning on fire. And I keep, I keep these hardbound journals, which I still do. I still have them from time to time, but I kept them. And I grabbed this journal, and I went to the little restaurant, and I looked out the ocean, all this stuff, and then I just started writing. And literally, I was writing so hard, I filled 2 of these. I wrote from, I think it was about 7:45 in the morning to about 7. Who likes my comments? Break for 1 sandwich. I have 2 screens at the same time. What does that say? Whoa, I wasn't trying to turn Tony Robbins off. Let's see if we can get that feedback. Let me hit refresh. Now Tony's muted. Hold on a second. How do I unmute him?
once I realized that, then I started digging into me and go, okay, what makes me go? And I spent the next 48 hours in Fiji, after scribbling like crazy, designing this seminar for me. This is the only seminar I've attended, Date with Destiny, because it was made for me. And it rewired me, because I always have these conflicts. Like, you know, I want to help everybody, and I also, at the same time, I got to be honest, and not everybody likes it when you're on, you know, all these inner conflicts I have. And I figured out how to align my values, because most of you, if you're really going for something in life, there's two types of motivation. There's push, you're forcing yourself, and then there's pull. Pull is where there's something that you want to serve more than yourself. Children, God, your family, something. And when that happens, there's something magical that happens in you. The pull to it. Push runs out. Pull doesn't. That's why I'm still here. I've been doing this 44 years. I've had the privilege of working with tens of millions of people around the world. And it chokes me up. It still moves me to see people shift. But I transformed. I remember I flew home and I called a friend of mine who was the head trainer for my little organization those days. And I said, meet me at my house. But meanwhile, 4 of my guys picked me up at the airport at LAX. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. And they were like looking at me really weird. And they're like, and I said, why are you guys acting weird? You're so different. I was like, really? In what way? And they said, oh. And I remember laughing because I don't think anybody would have called me calm before. But the reason I was calm,
because if you want to comment and say where you're tuning in from.
In the middle of stress like COVID, in the middle of the most extreme stress, you know, losing mom or dad or a brother or sister, or going through cancer, or your business is really challenged. The external world is one of the worlds we got to conquer. But we aren't able to really conquer it well. And even if you do well in the outside world, you don't conquer the inside world. You can conquer the inside world, you can handle the external world, no matter what it is. But most people are trying to do it out there, they haven't done it in here. And because my values had aligned, I was just pure pull. There was no more push. The problem is because I knew for the first time that no matter what happened, that my life was going to serve the life I was committed to. Emotionally, I'm thinking about today. And my buddies were completely transformed by my presence. And then I took my poor trainer's name was Bob, and I did design my first Date with Destiny. I did it to him for like 40 hours all by himself, this poor man, over 3 nights and days. I just throttled every part of his nervous system. And then I said, I got to do this for people. So I called my team and I said, call these 50 clients. You're all people I knew pretty well, and said, listen, I'm going to do this at my house. It's called Date with Destiny. It's going to be these 4 days in those days, and now it's 6. I've added things, obviously. And I said, I promised them, I forget what it was like $5,000 something. I said, I promised them 100% money back guarantee that they aren't out of their mind. They'll think it's worth 10 times that much. And we did it in my living room. It was amazing. And I remember, by the way, Joe, I don't know if you remember Joe. When Joe went through this experience, he had this transformation. And then he came to me and convinced me we were going to do this. And then there was this moment, Joe, I don't know if you remember this, where Joe was like, well, does this stuff happen every time? You know, like was the one that I went, that was the special one? I said, no, Joe, I've had people, like I sent a bunch of videos. A man that was blind turned around, a woman who was disfigured, I put them together. And all these different, like, I've done 85 of these for 33 years, and every one, universe God comes through, and you see people transform. So I'm so grateful. But I appreciate your question. And how are you doing in your life right now? Let me just ask you that. You asked me a question. Let me ask you a question. How are you doing?
Living in a beautiful state.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, I got a question for Joe. Somebody said, let's go to that next, because I know Phil's got limited time. Somebody had a question for Joe. Can you bring that up?
Yes. So, question for Joe. This came in quite a bit. People want to know, what would you tell somebody who is asked about what Date with Destiny was like? How would you describe it? And most of what we got in was, how has your life shifted as a result?
Is that KK? Did she color her hair red?
I think Tony describes it really well, but if I had to put it in my own words, it's like, we never take the time, especially people who are busy and successful, we never take the time to just think about who we are and what we want out of life. And, before I went to Date with Destiny, I didn't take 6 minutes to think about who I am and what's holding me back. And I was not feeling fulfilled, even though I was successful. And so there was something missing, and that was just really understanding who I am at my core. And 6 days to do that with a really beautifully structured program that really, and not everything in the program is for everybody. So there's some things that work and some things that don't. I'm just speaking for me personally. But the totality of the program was just incredibly transformational for me, which drove me to want to make the film, which it just quieted down that negative voice that was just always, nothing was ever good enough. And I realized, not to get into all my personal issues, but a lot of my issues stem from childhood. And the thing that really was, if I had to pick one thing that's in the film and was at the 2012 event that I went to, and always comes out organically at the 2014 event that I filmed, is, I'll just say for me, there's a handful of things that really spoke deeply.
Carl Green is on now too.
And different things will speak deeply to different people. But I had a tough time with my father, and still do. And but I can handle it now. And this idea that if you're going to blame your parents or anybody in your life that you feel is holding you back, if you're going to blame people for the bad, you got to blame them for the good. And that was just that simple thought that we don't allow ourselves to feel was transformational for me, because I had an amazing life. I have a beautiful wife, Lauren, who we've been together for 30 years, my first and only wife.
Awesome.
We have incredible children, Sarah and Maya, who are now young adults, very successful in their lives, and I had a successful career, and yet there was always this negative voice holding me back in terms of allowing myself to feel fulfilled. And it's just this idea, like, wait, I have a lot of great stuff going on in my life, so why am I listening to that old story from my childhood? And so that's just an example. There's some core things that happen in a structured way, in a very loving environment, a trusting environment that really just, did transform me. And it's not like you do it once and everything is perfect. You have your struggles, you go back and forth. I still deal with issues, but I was given the tools, which I still have and practice, to get me out of those moods. And that's the beauty of the event.
That answers your question, Susan. Sage, what would you say about the event? Because you've not gone through it. You've been through it with me day after day, event after event for 22 years.
I think what's so beautiful is just to, as Joe mentioned, it's so rare in life that we have an opportunity to really self-reflect and go inward. And if you look at what's happening external in the world right now, it's, there's a lot of blame. There's a lot of external discord. And, I think what's beautiful, so gorgeous is to watch the transformation that happens within individuals, and to watch them utilize those tools, to watch them see themselves, to watch them entangle, the stories that they've had that have caused pain and distress and have blocked them up from moving forward, and to watch that freedom, to watch that openness, to watch that love, just to see your love right now. I think the individual and the collective willingness, the collective consciousness that's formed at that event is gorgeous. It's this man's love flowing out, and everybody that raises their hand to go, it's just, we all fall in love. It's the most unique experience. And I think what's so beautiful, and for those of you who have watched I'm Not Your Guru, there's interventions of people that have the courage to raise their hand and to share their inner fears or their inner stories. And a lot of times, somebody raises their hand, it's like, gosh, I'm not going to relate to them. But, what's so beautiful is it's what's universal is the human experience. And so, when somebody raises their hand and they're sharing their story, there's a me too, me too, gosh, I relate to that. No matter what they look like, no matter what age, where they're from, there's the relatability, because we're all on this human path together. And I think that week of life, and having the privilege to walk this path with this man, and to see just the freedom, the inner freedom, no matter what's happening on the external world, to watch people open up and to be reminded who they really are again and again and again. And to watch the celebration, to watch the love, and to experience that is, I never get tired of it. I never get tired of it.
It's my favorite experience. We have so many beautiful, yes, thank you. have so many beautiful experiences and all the events. David Destiny is my favorite. We do once a year, and it's just because it's this community that's formed. We do that at all our events, but it's really special. You'll see people. You'll see, for example, I remember a woman that was about 375 pounds, and a lot of young men, young boys, I call them, would never pay attention to her. But within a few hours, we become so connected, like no talks. People who are not sure about things all of a sudden start to drop in because they feel it's more than safe. It's beautiful. It's we all respect each other. We all love on each other. It just really grows into that. But you'll see these men, young boys that would normally not, they wouldn't look at this woman. They're standing on their chair cheering for her to get her breakthrough. It moves me so much to see that. And what Joe said is so true. Just a little tip for all of you. It's like, I'm a product of my environment as well and the decisions I've made. We're a product of both. If you don't make decisions consciously, then the environment just controls you. Most of us didn't have great environments because we have amateur parents. They did their best, but no one taught them how to be a professional parent, And my mother, a huge part of who I am is my mom. She's a loving, amazing soul. But, when she used alcohol, unfortunately, and prescription drugs, she became a different being. And she was kind of violent and intense. But I always tell people, it's like, if my mom had been the mother I wanted, I wouldn't be the man I'm proud to be. I grew from that. I had to figure out how to protect my younger brother and sister when she was in those states. I don't want you to get the wrong impression. An incredible soul, but alcohol and drugs are a bad mix, and they change your personality. And so I had to learn to manage her emotions in her states. I had to become a practical psychologist. And it started me on a journey that I had no idea was going.
Did they say please leave the ice?
How many of you think of an experience in your life, maybe
Hello.
5, 10, even 15 years ago? Something happened that was horrible.
I'm going to look for the ice desk
again,
key.
No matter what, you sure as heck wouldn't want your children, your friends, people you care about to go through it. Maybe 5 years pass, or 10. And you look back on that time that was so horrible and you go, thank you, God, thank you, universe. It's just like, I can see the perfection in it. I can see that it made me stronger. I can see it made me care more. I can see it made me develop skills that allow me to move things today. And if you can find that, if you can start to develop that belief, especially in the middle of times like this when there's so much fear out there, way more fear than deserved by the situation. But if you can find it and develop that belief that life is happening for me, not to me, it might look like it's happening to me. It's my job to find the empowering benefit. And if you dig for it, how many can relate to this in some way? Those that see your hands out there, how many can see a time when you thought it was horrible, but it turned out it served, right? And I hear people all the time, everybody wants things to always be perfect, but problems are what make us grow. If we grow. Like disappointment destroys some people, but other people... Oh,
did they all left the ice?
And it makes their life so much more. And my hope, the reason we're doing this thing together is just to plant seeds with you, because we figure this is the time people need a little bit of, input. Because the external input is nothing but fear and upset, people losing their jobs, and inflation and deflation, and oh my God, it's like you turn on the news and you would think the whole universe was over. But we're going through winter. And if you're a student of history, which I am, these are 20-year cycles. We're about halfway through it. Probably got another 7, 8 years of this winter. Now, winter doesn't mean it's dark all the time. It just means fear is the dominant emotion. You can study 1,000 years of Roman history, which I've done, and you see these 20, 25-year cycles. And so if you think about people, imagine you were born in 1910, and you're coming of age, and most of us come of age around 19, 20, 21, right? Come of age meaning the first part of your life, people are teaching you. And then all of a sudden, you enter a new stage of life where you're going to test it out.
Jeez!
You're going to decide
Sorry.
how you're going to live, right? You're going to test it out from your 20s to your 40s. Well, when that generation was born in 1910, came of age, it was 1929. Think about that. People were jumping out of buildings, they grew up seeing the roaring 20s and thinking they're going to have a car, this new device, they're going to have these parties, it's going to be incredible. And suddenly
they had a pandemic.
Imagine what that did to an entire generation of people. But you know what? It made them stronger. And I guess they wouldn't be stronger by the time they turned 29. It was 1939. It was World War II, and none of us were around then. But the people that were can tell you it looked like we were going to lose. Hitler was rolling over countries. It wasn't literally to these people in their 40s where it was a new season. It was a springtime. Most people think of America's good times as the late 40s after World War II, the early 50s, up until probably 1962 when Kennedy died. And then a new pattern went for 20 years.
Kennedy didn't die in 62. He died in 63.
Versus say the 60s and 70s. versus the 80s and 90s to 2000. So history has its pieces. And here's what you need to know. Good times make weak people because we don't have to grow. Weak people make bad times. Bad times make strong people. That's what's happening right now. And strong people make great times. So what always follows winter is springtime. And if you're a God, when you work it out that way, what follows the night is the day. But our job is to make the season happen now. Our job is saying, what if you could make winter your best season? What if in the middle of all the shutdowns and all this fear, what if you could actually grow so much that the external world didn't hold you back at all? If you made this the best time in your life. For us, it actually is, because we're serving more people. We built this system, and we were told overnight, guess what? All your seminars are canceled. I remember somebody called me. We had a 60th birthday party. My wife put on for it. It was amazing.
Hello.
We needed to serve Underground Railroad, this group that saves children from sexual slavery.
I guess they're going to leave that feed up. Let me look for the Ice Network feed.
$19 million saved 19,000 children's lives. Yeah, it was beautiful. And so it's like this incredible high, and I got to see all my friends, and we did this beautiful work, and my birthday wasn't just a party, it was a party with a purpose, and 2 days later, I'm on this high, and people start calling me and saying,
U.S. figure skating.
Are you going to cancel the seminar? We're doing a seminar in San Jose, San Francisco, 12,500 people for it. We're a few weeks away, so 15,000 people, usual full stadium. I was like, what are you crazy? I bled out. I had mercury poisoning in Australia, bled out, lost a third of my blood supply, and I was in a wheelchair on stage finishing it. I don't cancel events. And then the governor of California canceled it. It's like, what the hell do you do? I was like, then all of a sudden they canceled everything in Australia, everything in London, everything in Soviet Russia, all over the world. Only have 10 people, so we have to figure out how to adapt. And I was like, we're going to go, I know what we're doing, we're going to go to Vegas. They'll never shut down Vegas. Of course they did. Then I was like, okay, we're going to go to 1,500 movie theaters. We'll fit 10 people in each one. We'll get the 15,000 people, right? They shut down the movie theaters. And I was like, we have a friend who owns a mega church in Houston. I'm going to rent his mega church. There's room for 15,000 people. They're not going to shut down the church and leave Costco open. They shut down the church and left Costco open. So a friend of mine said, you ought to do a webinar. It's like, webinar? I watched this guy do a webinar with these 250 2 screens. I was like, I just chopped my throat first. They said, it's got to be an event. It's got to be an experience. So I said, bring me a recorder. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to find a building with 40-foot high ceilings. And we're going to build 20-foot high LED screens. And we're going to do them 50 feet wide around me. And I'm going to call Eric on Zoom. And I'm going to change it. He only can do 1,000 people. I need to do 100,000 people. And then I'm going to create some software. So some people have it. When you hear the laughing, those are people who've been to a seminar. They have the software. You can shake it. And when you do, it sends a signal here. And the louder the signal, the louder the laughter, or the clapping, depending on what's going on at that time. And we're going to bring people up so we can intervene with them.
You shake it?
Unbelievably works. Like I can right now. So I can look over there, watch Victor Chan right now and see what he's doing, or Penny Miller, or Jacob Barber there. And I get to see you in your homes with your children. I look over here and see Carter Nagel. And in some ways, believe it or not, even though I love in person, it's even more powerful because you're there with your families. People usually have to fly away, be away from their family for a time, and then come back and try to explain what the hell happened to them. But here, your kids and your family are around you, and it's been amazing. And so I would normally go to 163 countries. Excuse me, I'd go to 115 cities, and I usually go to 14 to 15 countries, sometimes 163 countries. And in this time, I would see maybe 250,000 people working my tail off around the clock, dragging my poor wife with me and going for it. And in this year, we've seen 2.5 million people in events.
445?
Have got to be here, and we have a 6-month-old child. We've been trying to have a baby forever, and God bless us. So we figured out how to use COVID instead of COVID using us, right? So pretty beautiful experience. So I want you to know, it doesn't matter what's happening in the outside world. Our job is to figure out how to use it, not be used by it. And because of these new tools, we can help people with less expense, less travel, less everything, and we're reaching more people. So there's an upside to all of it. Well, let's go to a third person. Before we go,
it says it's not
event, there's 2 or 3 experiences that stand
on
out
NBC Sportsnet
that are so memorable.
Till 2:30.
How many of you watched I'm Not Your Guru? I'm just curious. How many took time to watch it before you got here? Wonderful.
It starts at 1:45 on Peacock.
So there was a young woman there.
But where's the ice desk? I'm still looking for that feed.
And she had been tied up in this group that
we're listening to
really
Tony Robbins.
Children. It's a religious group. and it was a cult. And she stood up and, we have a night at Date with Destiny. There's an evening part I call Suicide Night. It sounds bizarre. And we do a big celebration because in any room of 5,000 people, or even back in those days, I think it was about 2,500. There's at least a dozen people suicidal, sometimes 2 dozen. And so I read people's forms. Before people come to Date with Destiny, we have you fill out forms, different than anything else. I read them all.
It says 5:30 Eastern on NBCSN. I'll put that in the chat.
It's about 15 pages of questions. And some people if I knew the answer to these questions, I wouldn't need Date with Destiny, But I read them so I have a deep understanding. I won't remember everybody's name. I won't remember everything the patterns are in me. So when people stand up, I know what many people have done, and I try to use every intervention to heal as many people as possible. This is one I was not prepared for, and that was this woman, Dawn. And Dawn, let me give you an update on Dawn. Here's a quick little video.
My name is Dawn Watson. I attended Date with Destiny in 2014. Right now, we have a documentary on Natural Guru. One of the most incredible experiences I've ever had. Since everything that happened at Date with Destiny and coming back home and really doing the internal work that's needed, I created my method based on everything that I lived, everything that I went through, and everything that also I learned with Tony, and blending those two in a way.
And 7 p.m. Eastern, NBC Sportsnet.
Is to navigate through it, just go right through it and face it.
6:18 p.m.
Permit pain to show you,
Pacific.
to transform you.
Wait.
My life changed so much in so many ways, and I'm so proud of myself because
3:20 p.m.
It was so much work, and it is.
But it won't go on NBC Sportsnet till 4 Eastern.
I see life with completely different eyes.
7 Eastern, 4 Pacific.
In my life, where I get to share a beautiful relationship.
But I'm still looking for the Ice Desk
being
feed.
in that vulnerable, honest, and beautiful place.
Wait, are they live?
So amazing.
No.
Being able to do the work that I do. I wake up every morning so happy to go and do my events and go and do my retreats where I help people and also, lecture, do podcasts, share with the world my voice. Like that, really, there is nothing that makes me happier to live a life where I finally feel that I can be me, that I'm not hiding, that I'm not trying to cover up something because someone is going to find out, or I don't feel like I'm living a life trying to hide, or if you could think it visually, like just naked, just raw, just real, just open. And there isn't a better way to live life than just in that raw and open way. So everything becomes just a beautiful experience. There are days that it's not easy. There are moments where I have to navigate through some really difficult frustrations and pain. But, pain is not something that is not in my life anymore. But today I learned how to navigate through that pain. I learned how to learn from that pain. And it really comes from a place of, wow, this is my cocoon. This is a moment of transformation. So let me just be okay. Let me embrace it. Let me be here because I know it's going to pass and I'm going to be better after it.
Share to your story, public. Is sharing to my feed and my wall. This is going to double post. Share to a page.
Let's give it up for Dawn. She's joining us live. Give it up.
Where's the Ice Desk schedule? Because I didn't get notified yesterday when they went live. Facebook's not doing their job. They didn't notify me.
Yes. Dawn, nice to see you. I got to see you. It was a surprise. I was down in Brazil doing a talk of 5,000 people, I think it was, and I'm walking through the aisles, and I look up and I see this face, and I didn't even recognize you at first. Look how transformed you are. Tell us, listen, it's been 7 years almost this December, so 5 years for the film, but 7 years since that date. Tell us a little bit about your life. Give us an update.
Oh my gosh, Tony, just watching this and being here in this moment. And I feel like since that day when I remember that moment, and I remember the moment when I got back home and I had to really understand that work, internal work, was going to have to happen in my life for me to truly do what I
Let's see
wanted
if
to do,
anyone's
which was
live on
help other
Instagram.
people and use that pain to help other people. And I feel like since that day, and I'm here like crying because it truly is so powerful that when you navigate through your pain, when you permit pain to truly transform you, how you connect with people,
Okay, the
how you're
Peacock
able to
feed
feel
ended.
people, how people from all over the world have connected with me with their stories, and that I, through my own story and through my own journey, being able to support them and help them. And
Let
I'll
me
never
find the
forget the
next
day that you
feed.
said, Don, you're not going to be another me. You're going to be you, and that's more powerful.
Yes.
Because you use your story, use your power. Don't be a copy of me. Be you. And being able to come back to me and use my power, and through my story, be able to help other people, it's just been incredible.
I really want to honor you because I
So
offered
starting
you
in
that day
29
to learn
minutes.
from Robbins
Where did
Madonna
that
to go
go?
through the program we do for therapists, so you'd have all the skills I have. And you did it. You completed it, and you're doing seminars. You wrote a book, right?
Yes, I wrote a book, My Journey Back Home. I'm doing online retreats and creating safe environments for people to truly come and work through their pain and work through their abuse in childhood, because there's so much pain in our childhood. And if we don't learn to use that pain to empower us, it's gonna destroy us. And so it has just been incredible to be able to be doing what you did today and be able to know that that is what healing is. Healing is going through your process, and then healing is passing it forward. That is part of the project of healing. For me, helping people is part of my healing process. And I know for you too, that is, giving, you receive back, healing, you heal. So I'm so grateful.
You look younger now than 7 years ago, doesn't you, Joe? I mean, you look incredible. You could just feel the radiance coming through you. Joe, do you have
This
a
is
question
very
for Don, just out
frustrating.
of curiosity? Oh,
Where is the feed?
There he is.
We haven't talked since the movie, and I see how great you're doing. Like, what did you have ups and downs, or was it like a straight line, or how did you get to this place?
Starting in 27
Yes,
minutes. There's the feed.
Definitely ups and downs. I went through a really emotional process coming back from Date with Destiny. I think something that's really interesting is sometimes when we leave a Tony Robbins event, we're like, Tony's gonna come in this white horse and just save us. And that's not Tony's purpose. And so, he creates the safe environment, but the work, the healing, you gotta do in your day to day. And so when I finally understood that, healing is up and down. It is going through the ugliest parts of you, so that you can find out the prettiest, beautiful parts of you. And so I feel like that process until today, it's been so incredible. And then being able to be with so many different people that were at Date with Destiny. Even my uncle, he's here, and
he's here?
one of my events.
Joaquin is here?
Joaquin is here.
Joaquin, are you there? Can we put him on video? Joaquin, there he is.
Where is the feed? What time is the feed going live for the Ice
You didn't
Desk?
see the film, just to have context. There was a moment where, really Dawn couldn't even imagine anybody loving her or trusting a man of any sort. And I said, look around this room, and it's all this beautiful people, men and women, just sending love into her. It was gorgeous. And I said, I want you to pick, 3 men who could be your great uncles, that could be a source of support. And I interviewed all 3 of them. They all got chosen for different reasons by her. But Joaquin, you stood out, and I said, are you willing to commit to being there for her over the next 5-10 years? Not every day, but be there. 7 years later, here you are. Let's give a hand for Joaquin for that commitment alone. That's pretty awesome. I mean, they didn't know each other. They never even met. He stepped up for her. Joaquin, what have you seen in her over the last 7 years? What can you share?
Well, she's had her ups and downs. You can get a call 3 o'clock in the morning, and
Yes.
she's sort of going through one thing or the other. And then I see her she has such strength, such power. And we kept talking to each other. We kept in touch. And someday she called me and said, look, Joaquin, I'm doing this seminar in Brazil. I have the strength. I need to heal people. And I see you doing such terrific things. I mean, you make people walk on broken glasses, and you make them break the arrows with their throat. Is that real? I said, please don't do this in your home. Please don't do this. But I flew over to Brazil, and she did the healing part, and I did the high impact part.
Wow.
A way to make people release their feelings and their emotions, because I'm a business coach. So for me, it was quite hard to deal with Dawn. You know, she's quick-minded. She's always thinking about things. And well, there we were, and it was fantastic. So right now, I'm from Ecuador. I'm in Spain. I'm finishing writing a book. And I promised Dawn when I go back to Ecuador, I will fly again to Brazil, because it's so wonderful not only to see you, but to see how you deal with people who are going through difficult times. I had my share of that. And thanks to you, Tony and Sage, I've managed to overcome a lot of fears and difficult moments. And she has inspired me. It's beautiful to see you. And I'm part of the family. See? It's the way you color it, and yes. She's done a terrific painting. And thank you so much.
I want to thank you. You're a stranger to her, and for 7 years you've been a resource for her. That just says so much about you. But I'm also just so grateful you continue to change your own life as well. Give Joaquin a big hand. Thank you, Joaquin.
What about where's the Ice Desk feed schedule listed?
Being with a male or trusting a male, and I said, well, I'm one, right? But in an intimate relationship. But I've heard that you've taken that part of your life to a new level too. Tell us what's happening in the relationship.
Yes, and it's so beautiful, because I see that every time that you have the courage enough to navigate through some difficult pain, especially in your sexuality, so especially in women that have gone through abuse, being able to open themselves up to men again and open themselves to them so that they can feel love and experience love. And my life truly has been so incredible after I decided that I was going to open up. And yes, it's going to be scary. And yes, I'm going to have to encounter a lot of things that are going to either scare me or I'm going to want to close up again. But the moment I said, yes, I'm in, I want to live this, I want to enjoy this, and just trust. Life has just been so beautiful, and be able to share my life with someone else, and be able to be open to love, and be able to completely heal that area of my life, and now be able to help other women heal their sexuality, heal the pain, and really transform it into something so beautiful and free. I consider myself today completely free.
You feel that?
In every area of my life. I completely feel that, and I'm able to share that now. So it really comes from having the courage to just say, I'm going to open up, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be magic, because healing isn't magic, but it's natural to our soul. Our soul wants to heal. So you've just opened to it, it will happen.
Give it up for Dawn, everybody. Loves you, Dawn. It's beautiful.
It looks like they are letting non-vaccinated guests into the Orleans arena, but everyone has to wear a mask when they're not eating or drinking.
I just want to say one thing. You know, at this point in my life, I've made probably 18 feature films about Metallica, Paul Simon, wrongful conviction, whatever, hundreds of hours of television. Truly the most impactful experience I've ever had was making I Am Not Your Guru, because it touched me personally and really transformed my life. So I thank you for that opportunity and the chance to, in my own small way, help amplify the incredible work that you and Sage do has truly been the honor of my life. So let's do a sequel.
Yes. the great experiences that comes out of Date with Destiny. And by the way, I hope you come. We'd love to have you be there. It's one thing to watch for 2 hours, nothing to experience for 6 days and nights. And there's nothing like it. We only do it once a year. And the beautiful part now is you don't even have to come in person. And believe it or not, some people say, well, that really worked. We did it this last year. It was incredible. I mean, better than I thought it could work. Because also some people are more comfortable in their home. They're not surrounded by everybody. They feel a little bit more relaxed and so forth. But the greatest gift
I'm
for
going
me
to
is
Google
not just
fan
seeing
zone,
people
US
change.
Figure Skating fan
It's
zone.
seeing people go home and keep that change and make that change benefit their family and their friends and their businesses and their clients and their customers. And so my whole thing is, each one teach one. Like, I'm here to help everyone I can, try to take 44 years of my life experience. That's how long I've been doing this. I started when I was 3, of course, right? And compress that into a few days, like compress decades into days and save you as much pain as possible and help you achieve more, but also to be more fulfilled. Because people think that when everything goes a certain way, someday, someone, something, I'll accomplish something and then I'll be happy. And it's BS. It doesn't work that way. Unless you can find joy in whatever moment you're dealing with, including your challenging times, you're not going to have a sustainable quality of life. Certainly not an extraordinary quality of life. It'll be a life, but it won't be the one that you desire and deserve. And so that's what our focus is here. And to see Dawn, if you didn't see the film, she grew up in this cult, Children of God, and they were taught that children were supposed to have sex with the adults. I mean, if you can imagine being put through that kind of experience, or one of her family members, left this planet early as a result of trying to deal with that pain, to give you an idea. And to see her today, if you saw the film and you see her now, 7 years later, because that's one thing people go, well, does this really last? The answer is, you bet it does. And the reason it lasts is because you're making a change inside of you. You're shifting your perceptual tools, your beliefs and your values and your rules. That changes everything. It's quite beautiful. Let's do another question.
And I think what else is so beautiful, Joaquin and Dawn are a reflection of the community and the friendship.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, besides your own inner transformation, it's just finding like-minded individuals, the love that Dawn and that Joaquin share and her other, like that team. There's just a collaboration and a rallying hood and a rallying of like true brotherhood and sisterhood. It is such a unique collective consciousness and family that's birthed through this process. It's really beautiful. Dawn, congratulations. Joaquin, it's wonderful to see you. God bless you guys.
That's
4:35. So that's in 3 minutes. That's Eastern time.
Of friends from all over the earth.
And 8 p.m.
No one expects that comes out of being here.
9:25 and 1 a.m.
These kinds of intense experiences, it's just like it bonds us forever.
All right, let me see if I can get.
All right, next
is there a timer up?
Liz Ellis from Salt Lake City, and she
they're
has a
live
question
now. There's a
about someone that she
notification.
saw in the documentary. She says she relates to them a lot. She says, "I'm a mother of 6 kids, the COO of a tech company. I'm the achiever in me,
US
makes me
Figure
take on
Skating
everything, and my
on
husband
Facebook
feels
and
less
YouTube.
important, which really hurts his
What does the timer say?
self-confidence and our
2 minutes and 30
intimacy. How
seconds.
can I remove the "it's not fair" feeling so I can
Where's
fully
the
appreciate
audio?
the gifts that he brings? And this is for Tony and Sage.
Oh, I see she's on screen. Liz, nice to meet you. How are you? Give it up for Liz.
So good to see you guys.
Nice to see you as well. Well, I would love to answer that question, but I'm fortunate to have my wife beside you, and she is a woman, so maybe I'll start with her answers to that question.
You as well, up to you as well. I think what's so beautiful is to recognize that like there's a puzzle piece that we all make a greater whole.
1 minute and
sometimes
55
life
seconds.
compares, especially when there's an economics mind, you compare this to that. I'm doing more because there's a number, there's a dollar value on it. But for my own self, in my own life, and in our family, I think there's a beautiful perception is that is currency. The notion of currency, we all have a currency that we bring to life. We have a currency that we bring to our home, to our family, and that currency might look different than the economics. That currency might be holding a space for your children, or a bird, and to say no one is bring
Okay, go to YouTube or Facebook if you want to watch the Ice Desk. US Figure Skating.
Here we are. We're back at the Ice Desk for day number 2 here in Las Vegas at the 2021 Guaranteed Rate Skate America. And it's Super Saturday. There's a lot going on here, right? With all 4 disciplines competing.